Queensland side, Mal. Reece Walsh, if he goes into game 2 and he's selected at fullback, which I think everyone anticipates that's the case, aside from his 7 minutes for Origin 1, he won't have played since May 26th, which is exactly 1 month before the June 26th State of Origin number 2 game. Do you think no problem for Reece Walsh to go into that game?
Oh, not really. No. I mean, obviously it's a high-end energy, position, and that's the way Reece plays as well. But I mean, it just depends on how the game goes. They've got some ready-made replacements. There's no doubt about that. With Hamaso there and Val Holmes, all those guys that can play back at fullback to give him a spell, and they carry Selwyn on the bench again, so he can go into fullback too to give him a spell. So I don't think it's any risk at all.
Yeah, right, okay. And that sort of makes it a fair... That was the only thing I could come up with when I started thinking about, right, all these questions for New South Wales, let's create a problem for Queensland. There's a problem for Queensland.
I think they're pretty well covered.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, so, but you've got... I mean, it was a masterstroke, but, I think we've talked about it before where... I think you've got to carry an outside back. They could probably play in the forwards. I mean, at Origin in particular, maybe not even Origin, in the NRL as well. I just think the way the game is going, how quick it becomes, I just think that becomes a bit of a crucial decision on your bench. And, Billy got it right, and Madge probably, didn't, the selectors. And be interested to see what happens, next on the selection table at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, it is so fascinating. I'll ask you this question. Given that what we heard from Billy Slater in the days after Origin, we were on straight after Origin last week, but Crash Craddock wrote articles as well. Do you think Reece Walsh was targeted deliberately by New South Wales, Mal?
No, I mean, no, I don't. And I know for a fact that wasn't the New South Wales plan on how to defend Reece as well, so they were just going to be a bit passive the way they defend and, back their speed out wide as well, so Reece doesn't get on the outside. So that was just, I think, a bit of routine, bit of habit by young Joseph, to come in off his line and try and put a shot on. I think that's just the nature of Origin, isn't it? Nature of the beast, really. You want to get involved early. No, so there was no intent there, definitely not.
Yeah, it's like saying, did Liam Martin target Jermaine Hopgood? Well, of course he did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the nature, isn't it? It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, everything's good for New South Wales then. So no real storylines going into this weekend about who Michael Maguire picks. All right. Well, let's start with it. Latrell Mitchell. He was back. He was playing fullback. He's been back for a couple of weeks now. I thought his game against the Titans was absolutely spectacular. We know that there has to be somewhere filled for Joseph Suaalii. Bradman Best is going to be back for the Knights this week as well. Putting your, I don't know what hat we're going to get you to wear, but putting your Queensland hat on, let's start this way. Would you prefer to see Latrell Mitchell out or in of the New South Wales side?
I prefer to see him out, and people have been saying that if he's on or not, but I know Latrell pretty well, and if he gets selected in the Blues jersey, he'll be on, so he'll want to prove a point, to himself obviously first, and his teammates, and to the state. So he'll be on regardless, of what other people think. He wouldn't worry about that too much, and he'll be a danger if he gets picked. He's just a beast. He's an aura about him. With the ball, obviously, he's dangerous. He's got great skill. But I keep saying how good defensively he is. And I've had him in the Australian side before, and the decisions he makes, and the talk he has around him, because he's a very good talker on the footy field as well. He's made for those type of events, really. The bigger the game, the bigger he'll play.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that came out of that game. I was talking on Sunday about his stats, and it was 12 runs, 132 metres, 3 line break assists, 3 try assists, a try, just classic Latrell Mitchell game. But the thing that I was really impressed with, Alefiana Camperera comes at him for the first time and he gets around him, albeit just, but he got around him, right, and scored the try. There were two other opportunities during the course of that game, one-on-one with arguably the fastest bloke on the field, maybe the fastest in the league, and Latrell got him both other times.
Yeah, no, he's... I guess he's an enigma in a way, but, in other ways, we know how great he is. And, if he gets his life in order, particularly off-field, well, then his on-field performances are spot on. And, we've seen him at his best, and I guess we've seen him at his worst, So, we should just lay off him a little bit, Jimmy, and let him play footy, let him be who Latrell is, So I think that's really important. And if he gets, like I said before, if he gets selected for the Blues, he'll do a job for him, and the Queensland team will have their hands full.
Yeah, well, I lay on him. I just think he's a massive talent, and I love watching him play, and I think he's just one of these absolute entertainers that drags people through the gate, and people get sick and tired of me talking about him in such a positive fashion. But he scored 2 tries for you in the World Cup final in that win over Samoa, 30 points to 10. And you talked often on this program about your knowledge of touring and what it took to keep people happy, keep them active, maybe sometimes to not think about footy. What were the things that you did with Latrell to keep him motivated during the course of that World Cup campaign, Mel?
He loves fishing, and he loves his family. So his family, I mean, most of all the players really had their families come over sort of mid-tour, which was really good. And the way we set up our camps, our families can stay with the players, so that has a huge impact on them. Certainly, turns their attention back, away from footy back into the family, and they all got the kids there. He had his kids there as well. So, he really enjoyed that. But fishing, he loved his fishing, so we found fishing spots for him.
Is that right?
Him and Jack and the Fox, they loved their fishing, so they went fishing. So in ponds and things like that, found rivers and ponds and did little trips and tours, and I don't think they caught anything, but they had a great time.
Mate, would you dare eat anything that comes out of a river out of Leeds?
No,
me neither.
No, not those little canals. No, I wouldn't. No.
No, based on all the stories.
I haven't seen a live haddock. I know what haddock is, but that's very popular over there.
Right.
And so I haven't actually seen anyone catching your haddock. And I know where haddock comes from, but it tastes okay.
Okay. Well, let us know on the text line if you've used tweed bait to catch a haddock. And how did it taste? To 0457 736 736. So glowing endorsement from Mal Meninga there around Latrell Mitchell. So, and I think the other thing that I read, like that's a massive game tomorrow in the context of both teams' season, the Broncos and the Rabbitohs at Accor Stadium. And from what I understand, Latrell Mitchell and Michael Maguire catching up the next day for a coffee. So that will be instructional when it comes to whether Michael Maguire picks Latrell Mitchell. Mitchell Moses or Nico Hines, Mal? Or is something like that potentially so close that you are literally looking at they've got one more game to play and maybe the best player out of this game is selected in the side?
My thoughts on it probably won't interest New South Wales supporters, but my thoughts is that why change the footy team? So I mean, there's been obviously talk about picking the original team, the original thought process. There's probably that becomes pretty valid, I reckon. In I think in Madge's thought process and the selectors' thought process. I think we talked about last week, Jimmy. 13-12 is unfair at Origin in particular. So if I'm in charge, I'm thinking, well, I need to give those players who I put a lot of trust in game one, give them another opportunity, because I don't think they'll let me down. I feel that if they're given another chance, they'll play to their heart's content, and if they stay with 13, they'll be a very hard team to beat. So that's my first thoughts on it all. But also, the other thing is, why is Nico the one they're looking at? Why, if they want to put Mitchell in, why can't Nico play 6? And Jerome missed out. So Jerome had 10 missed tackles, in that game. Nico 4. So why they're talking about Nico at 7? I mean, 7, yes. If Mitchell comes in, he plays well on the weekend and deserves to be in the team. If that was the original thought process. They'll go and play Mitchell at 7. I think Nico will be a great 6 as well. So there's a bit of banter, there's a bit of obviously jostling there around the footy team, but I wouldn't be changing it too much. So they just spent 10 days preparation together. So why are we going to disrupt that, to put new players in and have to go through that process again in a game that's really important. You have to win.
Yeah. Got to win it. That's a really good point that you make around Jerome Luai, right? It's like there was a point where perhaps Nico Hines was going to be the 5/8 to Nathan Cleary as the halfback. So why could you not? Why could you not go back to that? And think about it from Nico Hines' point of view. The previous time he was in Origin, they went, right, go and defend at centre. And he went, oh, okay. This time they went, okay, you got to defend out there on the right-hand side, but now we're going to take your centre away. So the bloke you've been training with for 10 days, we're going to take him away. So defensively and with the ball, okay, that's what we're going to do to you. And think about how challenging that is.
Oh, exactly right. They both play right side, I guess, but, and Jerome plays left side. So when you talk about familiarity around their positions and where they play at their clubland, that's an important part of it as well. But
sure,
I think Nico will be a great 6. To be honest with you, because if he's allowed to roam it like Munster a bit, play off the top of his head to see what plays what he sees, and just get his hands on the football when he wants it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you the same question, and you might have already answered it. But Dylan Edwards was selected initially, ruled out. They had to go to the bloke who was playing his 23rd straight Origin, who played well. What do you do at fullback, Mal?
Well, again, it's if the theory is based on, I believe this is the best team that's going to win the series, and you take a series outlook on it all. Probably Dylan deserves to be back in. Again, it wasn't Dylan's fault that he got hurt, unfortunately, but he's obviously playing this week. So if he comes through that fairly well, I would imagine that the selectors will go with Dylan again over Teddy.
Yeah. It feels that way. I don't know. And again, it's going to be really important, the 80 minutes or however many minutes we get out of Dylan Edwards in the game this week. That'll help determine that. Cam Murray was named in the starting side, but I think Angus Crichton started in your World Cup final, and he missed that last game last year when the Kiwis beat you. You obviously got a huge opinion of Cam Murray. Are you happy for him to come back into the squad?
That's, again, another difficult one, Jimmy, because he hasn't played a lot of footy this year, but he's such a fit, physical player that, and a great player, and a great acquisition for the Rabbitohs this weekend. You get who's he going to replace? So you have like for like, I guess you can put him on the bench because I like him at left edge. That's where I play Cam Murray. I just feel that in the middle, yes, he's a great player in the middle as well, but we've got so many great 13s. You got to put a great player like Cam in the footy team, So I think he suits left edge, plays some of his best footy there. Certainly plays really well for the Kangaroos at left edge with Angus out. Angus, he played 80 minutes in Origin, which is a huge feat as well. So maybe Cam might come onto the bench, but who do you replace? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. No, it's not straightforward, and this is why it's a fascinating weekend, and it's also going to be a fascinating team that Michael Maguire rolls. We've got text messages coming in already, 0457 736 736. Why are you asking a Queensland?
Who does Cam Murray take over from in that New South Wales side? Certainly not Cam McGuinness, surely, or Zayo. Mind you, that their bench didn't play a lot of minutes, so maybe he does come on the bench. Hudson Young came in to play a role, particularly in the centres, and he only played something like 20 bit over 20 minutes. So most of the bench only played 20-odd minutes, So, it'd be interesting. And obviously they're talking about Jake missing out as well. So, but, maybe that's a scalawagging as well, because how can you drop the captain?
Well,
how do you do that? How do you do that after one game?
Here's one way to look at it. So Jake selected for the game at a course stadium that we knew was going to be defensive oriented, or we thought was going to be defensive oriented. It didn't play out that way because of the send-off, right? So, and as a result of that, Jake's time was limited. Second game, MCG, different circumstances, must win. So then you pick a difference. I could accept a side that had Isaiah Yeo in the front row and Cam Murray brought onto the bench, or even starting with Cam McGuinness onto the bench.
Yeah. See, I've got a different view on Jimmy. And again, we talked about this last week, where when you're down with 12 men, you need a defensive solidarity around the middle, and that's what Jake provides and can make a difference, a bit like what Liam Martin did, you know. He can do that. Yes. And turn the ball over in good positions, you know. So, but there's two sides to our game. And everyone thinks, well, because you're down, you had to, you know, particularly on the second game, we go to the second game, that we've got to attack more, but, you know, you've got to be a better defender as well, you know. So, and sometimes you need to attack with your defence, and that's what you need to do at Origin. You need to attack with your defence, and defence wins footy games, you know, and certainly at Origin level. So you've got to have those players in the middle, you know, steadying things up. You know, locking the play the ball down, so your gun players on the edges in particular can play their role and get plenty of space and score the points that are needed. But defence is key.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt, especially at that. Well, at all levels, but particularly at that level. Why are you asking a Queenslander what New South Wales should do? What the?
Well, there's something wrong with an opinion. So we all got opinions, haven't I? So you don't have to take my opinion on things, but I wouldn't be changing too many things because of the already preparation that the New South Wales side has done, and the faith they had in before they picked, you know, the team first up.
And I'm asking you as Mal Meninga on the Throwdown, all thanks to Chemist Warehouse, and also the Australian Kangaroos coach. So there's, as I say, you've got a number of hats you can wear, Mel.
Yeah, there's a whole heap of hats I can wear. I just don't wear any. It mucks my hair up, mate, too. You're a fluff nut, you know, you've got curly hair, you don't wear hats.
You have got the hair going a little
imprints
longer.
In your hair.
Yeah.
What's that, sorry?
Yeah. Well, your hair is going a little longer now. Why is that, Mal? That's just a fashion.
Grayer and thin out, don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, well, I know all about that, so... tell me about that, Mal.
We won't bring hair in it, I promise.
Nah, keep it out.